again and welcome to Aunt Anne's Tree. I'm so excited today because I'm going to show you how you can create a new design and pattern for an ornament or maybe a little pillow or something. And we're going to continue with our Valentine's theme for this month. So let's get started. I am going to go back to the correct camera. There we go. All right. I have to take it off studio mode so I can see. Okay, so for this we're going to need some graph paper, and I found this handy graph paper at a grocery store, believe it or not, in Connecticut when I was visiting there this past winter. And it's really kind of cool because it has 5 inches per square on the front and 4 inches per square on the back. So I use 4 inches per square. So I use them for both D&D and pattern creating. So I'm just going to use a sheet of this, and I don't know why I use graph paper. I just do. You can use regular paper. We're going to make a heart ornament, and the idea is to make sort of some embroidery on it. And I want to show you some of the embroidery I've done in the past. This is very simple stitches. This is the penguin I made for the holiday time. I made a penguin last week for Valentine's Day, but it didn't have embroidery on it. It just had a heart on it. And this is that embroidery, these simple embroidery stitches I did there with some beading. And same with this one. But we're going to try some other kinds of stitching too. This is a matryoshka, or a Russian nesting doll ornament that I have on my Etsy shop for the holidays. So that's some examples that I've done. I have to decide how big I want to do this embroidery, and because it's a heart, I don't want it to be too small because I want to kind of show off the embroidery. Hey Blizz! A heart is a very easy ornament to make because it's symmetrical. So we're going to this is kind of the easiest one you can do. I'm going to fold this in half and decide how big I want this. I could use, to make the round shape of the top part of the heart.
You've subscribed! Welcome to the Dragon Kid
Thank
family!
you, T-Girl. You are so sweet. Thank you so much for that subscription. For the top part, that little heart part, we could use our protractor. That's what this is called, right? What is this called? Protractor? I don't know. It's some math thing. You'd think I'd know better. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to freehand it. So let's just put that aside. Hearts are relatively easy. And like I said, I want to make this kind of large because I want to be able to show off some embroidery stitches as we go. What's so cool about doing it this way is no matter what shape you make on this side, and if you cut it, it's going to be the same on the other side. So I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm just going to use this guideline here. And if I don't like it, guess what? I have more paper. Now, there's some ASMR paper cutting right there going on. Okay, now imagine when you stuff this ornament, it's going to appear smaller. So even though it looks kind of large now, it'll actually be a little bit smaller, the completed one. Not too much smaller, but just a little bit smaller. Can everyone hear the music? A compass, thank you. Yes, I knew it was something like that. Can everyone hear the music okay? Is it loud enough? Am I loud enough? I have to change all the settings between all my different programs that I do here on Twitch, and I never know if I get the right one. I'm gonna make this pattern on this design on this beige colored felt. Now this is the same felt I used for the little Valentine bear I made a couple weeks ago. This is sandstone, and I can't remember where I purchased this from. It looks like the label could be probably Hobby Lobby. I can't remember what store this brand is from. So this was called Sandstone, and it's nice because it has a little bit of not texture but coloration to it, a variety of colors in there. It's not just a solid color, and I like that because we want to show off the embroidery on this one. Typically I try to make all my ornaments so that they fit on a quarter of the felt, which is about looks like 4.5 by 6. But I wanted to make this one a little bit larger, so it's actually not going to fit on that quarter piece. No worries. I buy this. This is a felt square, but I can buy this by the yard. It's a little less expensive if you do it that way. But I'm just going to do this one. So I've made that pattern, and I have to decide. Yeah, that'll work well like that. I have to decide what kind of embroidery I want to put on this. My idea, in keeping, oh, thank you, Blaze, thank you so much. In keeping with the Valentine's theme, I thought I would make little hearts that were flowers. So I went and found a bunch of scrap felt from my scrap bin, and trust me, this is about a 20th. I literally have a laundry basket full of scraps of felt. I found this little piece of green rickrack that I thought would make a nice sort of a grassy area at the bottom, sort of like the landing post. I don't know if it's gonna work. And then we would cut out little heart. Let's do it on this design. Let's do it on this so we can see what it's gonna look like. Let's see. Maybe we'll make this red one prominent because of the color of it, and then we'll do other colors like the purples and such. All right, that didn't smooth out as nicely as I'd like, but there we go. So that'll be the center one, like that. You know what? Let's cut. This is my process. I do a lot of, you know what? Because I'm always rearranging. Okay, so I'm going to cut 2 of these. Let's just go ahead and cut that out so we can get the right spacing done for it. When you're sewing, always use sharp pins. There's nothing worse than, even though you get poked, and I do all the time, there's nothing worse than trying to poke a dull pin through felt. And you see I'm trying to use the maximum usage out of this piece of felt. I put it over to the corner there. I guess I could have put it over on that corner over there, but that's fine. Like I said, I buy this color by the yard, so I really do have plenty of it. I just chose to use a felt square to show you that you can purchase it anywhere where they sell felt. I've got it at Walmart before. I've purchased it at, of course, Joann's and Hobby Lobby and Michael's. There's more from a scrap bin. This will go in a larger scrap. I have 2 different scrap bins. I have small scraps and big scraps, and that'll go in the big scraps. Okay. If you don't have a tomato, you need a tomato. Yeah, exactly. And being cut by a blunt object that's meant to be sharp is actually worse than just getting a nice, of course that's kind of an oxymoron, a nice cut, but a nice even smooth cut is easier to heal than a jagged cut. Okay, so let's put that there. We've got a little heart there. Let's see, what other color? Blue, you think? That might be too shocking. Maybe lavender? I don't know. I think this is, well, if we're going to use this green, oh, this is all a work in progress. I have not decided on any of this. I like this color. Do I have a bigger scrap of that? This one right here. We'll use this pink. And we're just going to cut some heart. And if we have to cut them smaller, we will. But for now, I'm going to make them a little large because it's easier to cut them down than to make them bigger. And you see I'm freehanding these because the shape is so easy, but you can always make a pattern and pin it and follow along that pattern. This one needs to be more, I think needs to have a bigger heart bubble at the top. Heart bubble? I don't think that's a word. I don't think that's a phrase. Maybe bring it in a little bit. This might be too big. This one might be too big. That's all right. On that side. And what other color do you think? Maybe, I think one more heart will fit. Maybe this pink. If we're gonna go with the red and pink theme. Yes, exactly. Well, you would know. You are the scientist when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's good, important to keep kitchen knives sharp. As funny as that sounds, it definitely, well, first of all, it cuts your food more easily, but you don't want to ever get cut by a jagged or dull knife. Goes for scissors too. Okay. So these are like different. That looks like a face. All right, let's do 4. We don't want a face on. Oops. We do want to get some embroidery in there too. That'll probably be the stems and maybe some outline. We'll do a daisy stitch. I need my smaller scissors, my more detailed scissors. I use Fiskar, and to me they're the best ones for control and sharpness, but these smaller ones are better for my old arthritic hands. I decided on Earl Grey tea today. I've always liked it, long before Jean-Luc Picard made it popular. But I have a bit of a sore throat, made worse by by my voice acting, if you could call it that, on Tuesday night. Oh, that was so much fun. The Banana Brothers met an old elven woman with a deep voice. Oh, that's a different color red. Okay, good. I have an orangish red, and I'll use this red. That's perfect. Oh no, I'm sorry. Personal experience. They met an old elven woman, and I voice acted her for a little bit, and it was fun, and it definitely got the point of her old age across, but didn't help my sore throat. Something's going around here, I think. So I thought the Earl Grey would be very soothing. I had some last night and it really helped. Okay, so let's see. I don't know, what do you think? I think these are getting too big. I think I'm gonna need to trim this one down a little bit more. I don't want to take it over. I want some embroidery to show. Let's make that one a little squat, a little more squat. Okay. This is the process I go through every time. There's definitely some hits and misses. No, let's not put the red one, since these are very similar in color. You know what it needs? It needs a 5th one. What color? And I'm not, as I'm seeing this, I'm not liking the rickrack, so that's probably gonna go with this color here. Not orange. Maybe yellow? No. I really do need to find maybe purple. Purple would coordinate, I think, better. Then they'll look like little candy hearts. I approve. We had a blast last night on Banana Brothers. It was a really fun night. Next week sounds like it's going to be even more entertaining. I've told all the Banana Brothers to have a song ready for next week. Apparently they want to go visit the local theater, and they don't know this yet, so don't tell them. But here's a spoiler for next week. They are going to find out that tonight, the night that they have decided to go visit the theater, is karaoke night. And there's a prize for the best singer of the night. So that ought to be entertaining. Okay, I do like the 5. I don't know, maybe we won't put the green at the bottom. Maybe we'll just make the stems green with floss. And I have got my collection of floss here. I'll move this. And it has almost every color. What I do is I go buy the felt, and then immediately, and this only works in the larger stores like Michael's, Joann's, and Hobby Lobby. It does not work well at Walmart. They don't have a variety of the floss colors all the time. They have basic colors, which is great if you just have a basic need, but I sometimes pick felt colors like this one, for example, that requires a specific color. And I have all these matched up in a book somewhere where I know what color floss goes with this color felt, but we'll do this together today. I want to try to match up all these colors. So let's see. We're actually not going to finish this today. This is just the pattern process. This is just my design process. We're going to make it next week for our final February Valentine stream. And then of course in March we have to do shamrocks and St. Patty's Day stuff. So that'll be fun. So this one, let's see, that's 321. That would go well with that one. I like that color. That matches. That one is 718. That goes well with that fuchsia right there. I guess this 602 is going to match. I thought I had a 604 that was a little lighter, but I do have a bin of floss that's not been packaged. That's 602. I have a lot of 602. What's this one? 602. Apparently that's the one I thought would match best. So we will go. Well, here's one that's $8.99. That one looks good. Did I have $8.99 here? No. Oh, I don't know. Does that really match that one? Let's hold it up. You guys can tell me. Yeah, I think that's close enough. I think 602 might be a little too pink. Okay, so we'll use $8.99. I don't have one open, so I will tuck that in there. I do like this blue. Well, for another one. That's for another day. All right, and then we need this orangey color. Sort of a... Well, there we go. That is 817. That's okay. Let's see if we can find something a little closer. Oh, another 817. I thought I only had one of those open. Let's see, I have... Oh, perfect. This is 349. I use this one a lot. I don't know why I don't have any open. It might be in a kit. Sometimes I put together kits if I go shopping somewhere. Oh, there it is. There's 349. If I go sit with my daughter as she's in her ballet class or while they're in choir, I will bring along a kit to work on. No worries. Thanks for stopping by, Blizz. I really appreciate it. You're such a sweetheart, keeping me company. You go do you, and we will see you next time for sure. Thanks for all your support, seriously. Okay, so I've got all the colors to match the hearts, and the color that I use for this is actually, for this one here, I need to stop using it because I can't find it any longer. It's JMP coats, and not a lot of places around me sell JMP coats. I'd have to buy it online. Hancock Fabrics used to sell JMP coats, but there's the one that was close to me closed down, so I don't have access to that anymore. So I'm going to switch to this 3864, which I've used, and it's nice. I think it's actually nice enough to use. So that'll be for the heart. And what do I want to use for? Do I want to just put leaves around? Let's just try a couple leaves. How that would look. And we will have this ready for next week. I'm just going to make sort of ovals with a curved side. I mean, with a pointed side. Like that for leaves. And put them near the hearts. Our little heart flowers. That's the idea. See you soon, Blizz. Thank you. So that's sort of the idea I had. We'll see how it works. I'll cut some more out. I like this green. I like the subtleness of it. It also has I don't know if you can see, it has a bit of multicolor to it. It's not just a plain. Let me see if I can find a plain one to compare. Here's just a basic Kelly green, and you can see that it doesn't have as much, I don't know, personality to it. And I kind of like the way that this green grounds the brighter colors. It doesn't overwhelm them at all. And you can see I'm freehanding these. very simple shapes, but if you need to make a pattern, you can, and I will include a pattern when I make the PDF of this pattern that we're making today. All my PDFs are available to my patrons over on my Discord channel. If you are a patron of Qyjari's Curious Crafts, you have access to all these patterns in PDF form, as well as the full color picture of them being completed. Okay, 2 more. The scrap piece worked out great. Each strip there makes a couple of leaves. I may have to trim these down a little bit. When I sew these on, I'm just going to do a running stitch around each one, and then they need something in the center to kind of give them a little pop. Maybe some type of embroidery little bits. Maybe I could put some beading in it. Maybe some subtle beading. I don't know, because that might make it too shiny for this sort of this subtle look we're going. Well, we can decide that next week when we put it together. But for now, oh, I kind of like the way that goes on top of it like that. They almost look like those conversation hearts, those candies that the kids pass around at Valentine's Day. Well, I don't know, some of these just need, this one's kind of small. Maybe I'll replace that. Some of them look like they could just use one. Oh, 2 might be too many for all of them. Maybe a couple can have 2. Maybe a large and a small one. Oh, I'll have to just see. And then the stems can come together. Ooh, maybe we can make some swirly stems go around too. I like that. Maybe that needs to go on that side to kind of balance the green. Yeah, there we go. All right, I like that. We're gonna save this one in case we decide to add another leaf to it, but I think we have our leaves. That's perfect. I've been talking too much. I need some tea. Excellent. Okay, so if we're going to make this into an ornament, it needs a little loop. And I buy this 1/8 inch wide ribbon. These are very inexpensive. These spools of 1/8 inch ribbon. It's the silk. You don't have to get the fancy double-sided ones. I think you can get these sometimes for between 50 cents and 99 cents. They have sales. And you just need about 3 inches of it, and I just create the loop without even cutting it off, so I can save any bit. You just need about a 1/2 inch loop like that, and cut it off there. And that is to put here in the center when we sew the 2 pieces together to hang it. Now, if you don't want to hang it and you want to make this a little pillow, a little Valentine pillow or some other decoration, you don't even need that, but I will have it just in case we decide to do that. Now, we need to decide, well, we need to match the green. Let's see, I've got, oh, here we go. That's perfect. That's $4.69. That matches great. Now, do we want an accent color? Oh, I know what we could talk about. Do we want to make this more, and this would make it easier, country, in that it has the obvious stitch? Instead of matching all the colors, do we just want to outline everything with a black stitch and kind of make it pop out a little bit more? I think I like that idea. Make it look, so that you can see the stitches. And then we could take the green and sort of do some swirly vines throughout each one instead of making stems. Ooh, I like that. Let's do that instead. I'll keep these colors out in case we change our minds. I'll add these to the kit for next week. But I like this idea. I like the idea of putting a vine swirl around it, and we'll do that first and then sew these on top. That'll be a little easier. And I like that. Okay, so let's do that. Let's make it that. You know what we can do? We can start. Because we still have a whole half an hour. We've done this in half an hour. And this is already ready to go, so why should we wait? Let's just go ahead and sew. I am going to use a daisy chain stitch with this green that we've matched to our leaves. And thank goodness they've already been separated. Sometimes I get on a kick and just go and separate. I use 6-strand floss, but then I take those 6 strands and divide them into 3 sets of 2. So I actually only embroider with 2 strands. And I'm gonna need my glasses, my readers, because I'm blind. Let's just start embroidering. And don't let that, I have to pick a good needle. A nice sharp one, like we talked about, there we go. You want to make sure that you have a nice sharp needle, like I said. Pins definitely, needles for sure. Okay, so this is the top one, and we're just gonna go around. I would save I would not do any of the embroidering of what we're gonna do next along this edge, because this is where we're going to attach it with a blanket stitch to the underside. So I would maybe move in 1 inch and start your embroidery there. But we'll start at the bottom here. And like I said, we're just gonna do a daisy chain, and I'll show you that stitch in a second. It's easy. You run it up from the bottom, and then you take your needle and you put it back through the same hole that you started at. And then depending on how large you want the stitch is where you come back up to the surface. Let me just raise that up to the camera so you can see what I'm talking about. I hope it focuses okay. And then you pull through and leave that stitch that you've pulled out, that thread that you've pulled out right there, and pull gently so you have a little chain. Oh, I'm gonna have to fix that camera. No, there we go. And then you're gonna repeat the same process, going in that same hole, which is inside that little stitch. And this is a daisy chain because it looks like a chain of daisy petals. Let me just do a few, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. And I'm just going to go around kind of doing some loops and meander around to make it look like a little bit of a vine throughout this piece. Maybe I'll go upward a little bit. Remember that the hearts will be covering part of these, no big deal. It's just easier to continue with one daisy chain than it is to start and stop around the hearts. So that's why we're doing this one first. At least in my opinion. You might have different results. I didn't think we'd get that pattern done in half an hour, so why not spend the next half an hour crafting? That's what this is all about, listening to some chill music, having a little tea. Now what I might do is, I like the length of this stitch, but there's nothing wrong with going back around with a different color and use a smaller stitch, as if there are 2 different styles and colors of vines going around our heart flowers. Oops. Okay, so let me show you what I've got so far and how that was. So that's a daisy chain. I don't know if that's going to come into focus very well. I don't have autofocus. I have it turned off because otherwise the camera kind of goes nuts. But that's essentially what it looks like. You can make a loop-de-loop if you want. In fact, what I might do instead of making it continuous is I might make it appear that it is more of a vine. And I'm gonna start and stop, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm gonna make this last little petal, and I'm gonna put the needle in on the opposite side, not through the same hole, but on the opposite side, so that it actually captures that last loop, like thus. And then I'm going to go back up through, well, let's say this one, and continue the stitch this way. Now it looks more like a vine. There. And this is just meant to be a very soothing, relaxing project. If you enjoy hand sewing or hand crafting, I consider this sort of my yoga, my relaxation. I'm going to turn toward the outside a little. Like I said, I don't want to get too close to that edge. I think I want it to end there and start again. Let's go back this way. And go off here. And continue. Maybe I'll loop that downward and then up and around. So this will take a while to finish all this. What I might do, because this project may take longer than an hour to complete, is I'll continue working on this today, and then I will, during the stream, and then I will finish it this week so that we'll just add the hearts next week and complete it that way. If you are nervous about doing this freehand, as I'm doing right now, you can always take a fabric pencil or fabric chalk, something that will wipe away easily with just a damp cloth, and mark out the path of your stitching. And I will do that before I attach this one to the base. I will go around and copy this same pattern on the PDF that I put on my bonus content page, so that if you want to follow this exact pattern, or at least have something to go by as you're creating your own pattern, it will be available to you. I really appreciate all the patrons that I have. They have been invaluable to me, and I find that patron support, it really is the best way to support Curious Crafts and the shows that fall under that umbrella, including this one. I really enjoy being able to provide some of the bonus content that I have. And we just announced last night during no, actually we announced it Monday night during Curious Crafts. We had a guest producer returning to help out while his sister was away, Drake. He and I decided that we should do another Bob Ross challenge, and I think that would be a lot of fun. It was very hilarious last July when we did it, and I think we should do it again. Bring back Del Mori and Clover, have another challenge for them to do another Bob Ross painting. That looks funny. That looks like a backward 3. I think I need to fix that. I'm not happy with the way that looks, so I will, in my meandering, go back and fix that. Probably I will curve it upward. I'll seal this one off and go back, pick this up where I left off, and have it curve upward a little bit. Actually, I'll create a little loop with it. I'll have it go right over the top of that other one. Why not? So I think we'll do another Bob Ross challenge maybe this summer. That was a lot of fun. Have some more giveaways and challenges for our painters, like last year when they had to paint with a banana. Or paint with their opposite dominant hand. Paint with their eyes closed. That got a little messy. There. Actually, I'm going to close that one off and go back to where I was over here. Just to remind everybody of the schedule for this Twitch channel, we have all these programs coming up. I'll turn that one off and bring up our schedule. This is what we do on a weekly basis. I say we, it's mostly me, but guess what? I have some awesome helpers. My daughter Clover produces Curious Crafts on Mondays. And of course the Banana Brothers all join me on Tuesdays. The Real Tranquil, Lawful Good Boy, Arlindor, and Choku. They are hysterical. And they work so well together as a team of bumbling idiots. And I say that lovingly. None of their intellect is higher than 6. So they struggle with everyday tasks, and it really makes a fun and interesting D&D game. And then of course on Wednesdays I do this program, and on Thursdays Joe joins me and we write one-shots, and that is another bonus content that we provide to our patrons. Those one-shots that we sort of brainstorm become one-shot campaigns, fully fleshed out, written, maps and details added each week, and I have those available for my patrons as well. This is sort of taking a curvy turn. I'm going to go back upward, I think. I'm running out of thread, so I might want to consider, I'll do one more, and then I might want to consider at changing out my thread. It's getting a little toward the end here. There we go. I was taught as a young girl learning to embroider and sew and crochet and knit, all those things my Nana taught me, is to make the back of your project look almost as nice as the front, and that was to avoid any tangles or knots or clumps in the back there. She also taught me a really fast way to create a knot at the end and to finish off the stitches by going through the fabric like that. She was definitely my inspiration for crafting. Okay, so let's get some more thread. That one's too small. There we go. I do like the idea of using this black thread. I think that's really going to make the stitching around the flowers sort of pop and maybe look a little more rustic, even with their bright colors. Okay, let's see. Let's continue down here. Let's just go in a new path. Upward. Onward and upward. Let me shorten this. I use the 2 strands, and when I thread it, I only knot, you can see that the end is here. I don't knot the 2 strands together to create 4 strands. I only use the 2. Better start heading the other direction. And I think I need to put another small stitch right there to make it look like a little bit of the vine. It was a bit of a rough left turn back there. So I will, when I get back looped around, I will put another little stitch right here, I think, to make it look like that was a detour in the vine. I'm going to end it there and see how that looks. I'm going to add that little. See, that's what I'm talking about. You got to make sure that you don't have that knotting in the back. There we go. I'd say these are about a 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit less distant stitch. I'll do one more. Kind of fill in that little space there. Okay. Then I'm actually going to go back here to this loop. I like the idea of going in here and putting that in there. And it doesn't really matter what your vines look like. Vines are chaotic. There's no real pattern to them. As long as it's consistent throughout, it shouldn't look awkward or unusual. There, that that filled in that little gap right there. We'll keep going. We'll have this one circle around that side there, I think. Or not. We'll see how it looks when we get up there. Again, I'm keeping it about 1/2 inch from the edge. Oops, that has really caught itself. There we go. So that I have plenty of space to put that blanket stitch to attach it to the back. Oh, that's what happened. That little scrap piece of thread got in the way. Okay, I'm going to turn this around and reevaluate what I've done so far. Perfect. I'm going to actually put a little one right there. In fact, you know what? As I'm looking at this, I like the idea of making it a little more leafy, or let's try another one right here and see what that looks like. This gives us more work to do, but that's okay. The end result will be, I think, very nice, more finished. And again, these are just daisy stitches. One of the easier embroidery stitches to learn. Oh, I do like that. Okay, this is a lot to do, and it might be a little boring watching me go over all the rest of these. So I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to put it down, and let's revisit what our idea looked like. Just go right in there. But I do like these additional stitches. I think that really makes the project a little more complete. Okay, so what we have so far is our fuchsia heart, right? It does cover up. Maybe we should make our hearts a little bit smaller. Let's make our hearts a little bit smaller so that beautiful vine stitching that we have going can show off a little bit more. This one is crookedy. And this is the problem with not following a pattern, is you get to trimming and all of a sudden you trim too much. But I think that worked out. Okay, there's that fuchsia colored one. Let's get our trash out of the way. And then we've got the red one sort of in the center, I think. And this lavender one down here with its leaf. Yeah, that'll look nice. Pink right here. This leaf went here, I believe. Yeah, that'll look lovely. I like the way that the green matches. And then the stitching around the edges will have this sort of a rustic look to it, make it kind of pop that color out. I do like that a lot. Okay, well, we have a few more minutes. Let's continue with our... I'll continue doing the little accent stitches on here. Oh, you know what would be nice? I'll have to go back over it. I wonder if along this vine we could put some green glass beads. I think we should try that in the 10 minutes we have left. I'm gonna go grab some green seed beads, they're called, and they're very tiny, and you need a small beading needle to, I'll have to change this needle out for a beading needle. Here are some examples I showed earlier of this fine detail that I did, and these are the seed beads I'm talking about. I have two different colors of seed beads. I have sort of this lime color and a Kelly green color, and I'm thinking that the lime color will sort of complement that that sage color we have going there. So I am going to get some of these out. Normally I have a little pad I put them on to keep them from rolling. I will use the back of this pattern. It's hard to see. And I will pick out a beading needle, and let's just run a couple of stitches or a couple of beads along there. This tiny one here has a very small eye in that needle. I'll just use this little scrap piece of coordinating floss from the collection. It matches the one I'm embroidering with right now. Just to test out a couple of the beads along. I do have my readers on, but this is a tiny, tiny eye. It needs to be small to fit through that seed bead. Okay. Again, this is just my process. This is what I do when I come up with a pattern. I kind of do it halfway and then change my mind, or don't change my mind. Make something completely different, take stitches out. But I think I'm gonna like the beads. And I might want to add the beads after I apply the hearts. Yeah, I like that. You can, it's hard to see on there, but I think it's really going to give it a nice flair and pop to it. So I will do that. I will finish the rest of the ivy on this heart. I will and then the next week we will finish this by adding these and then complementing it with the beads. I think that'll be very nice, and that will finish off our February heart Valentine's designs. We started out the month with a cute little bear holding a heart in his little paws, and then we had a penguin last week, a Valentine's penguin, similar to this one but Valentine themed, and then we're gonna finish off with this. And then next month in March we will see, I've already put that there, and guess what, I plan to put that heart right there, so I'm gonna take that bead out. And then next month we will continue with some shamrock and some St. Patty's Day designs. So thank you all for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the music and you enjoyed whatever hot brew, cold brew you brought to the crafting table with you today. Please join me tomorrow night for 3 Sheets One Shot, and otherwise we'll see you next week on Aunt Anne's Tree.